Good morning, Ursula here. I just thought I'd give you guys a quick update on the Cinderblock garden that I'm creating. It's certainly nowhere near done yet, but we're getting there. Let me show you some of the problems I've had. This would be one. I can't get this level no matter how hard I try, and I'm probably going to have to rebuild this section again next year. Currently I have it shimmed with cardboard, which is not a long-term solution. Those will break down, and when they break down, they'll be a quarter of thickness that they are now. So I don't know if that made sense, but that's what it is. So let's take a closer look at what's going on. This is a section that the groundhog had been digging in. It just wasn't getting enough light. We're at the point in time of the year. We hit equinox and we're headed towards solstice. This section of the yard just doesn't get light. The house puts a shadow on it and is covering it for about half of the day. So it only gets morning sun, and it wasn't enough. The crops in here were spindly, and the groundhog had been digging. These would be, well, besides the grass, there were turnips in here, and there were radishes, and they just really aren't doing well. The sawdust is just overflow. I was working on planting strawberries in the holes of the cinder blocks. Some of them took, some of them didn't take. This one took, this one did not. And so it's been like that. Trying to make sure they get water. This time of year we tend to be a little on the dry side. I still haven't figured out what I'm going to do with this red vein sorrel. It is a perennial. We'll see. I did plant a crop of lettuce in here, and 2 rows took, 2 rows didn't. So whatever the other mix was that I planted, it just didn't grow. And then beyond that, I've got Mizuna and arugula growing, and they look like they could use another drink of water too. The soil level is kind of low. As I empty my grow bags for the year, I've been putting more soil in here, and that's an ongoing project. And the strawberries that are going in here came from the path. They were growing all through here. They weren't even from the bed, so I've yet to even start relocating the strawberries in the bed to a better location. But I have gotten my posts in, which will be for a trellis for next year. It'll allow me to put frost blankets on, and also if I decide to grow tomatoes or something in here, I can trellis them. I'm thinking cucumbers maybe next year. I don't know. I didn't get enough cucumbers this year. It's sad when there's no pickles. But this gives you an idea of where we're going with this. I got most of these strawberries in today, so we'll see how many of those I actually take. They all came out of the path. I at least have a path now. That's a start. Blue Jay's got some comments. You may hear that in the background, you may not. But yeah, there's a lot of strawberries to transplant. An idea I have but haven't done yet. We're gonna walk into the pumpkin patch. This is actually the compost pile right here, and the vines grew over the top. They're starting to die back. We have to watch where we step because we still have a few pumpkins in here that yet to get ripe. But I'm thinking of taking the compost and moving it up the hill further, and probably under the big mulberry tree there. And that will give me a spot just for strawberries. maybe a 4 foot by 4 foot bed, since that's what the size of the compost pile is roughly. And you can see I've got other problem children. Like, I planted this bed of leeks because that actually used to be a separate bed, and that bed of leeks is not on the inside of my garden bed, it's on the outside. So stay tuned, see what I do. Also looking forward to putting rails in to support the raspberries so that I don't have this sprawl, because it's a pain to walk through there. I'm widening the aisle, which is great, but I still need to support those. It'll be easier to pick, and it will be easier to get through to the back side of the garden. And then as I add the support posts in the back, then I'll start transplanting strawberries back there as well. And there certainly are plenty to transplant. So the goal is to have this bed free of strawberries, except on the edges, and get that sorrel out of there and put that in a better location. I might just make this an annex garden and brick it, and then maybe the sorrel will go there. I don't know. This section, there's a wider section before you hit the raspberries, so the path is much wider here than on the end. That's all for now. Take care.